Hi there, and welcome to the World Crypto Network. I'm Jamie Nelson, and today I am joined by Susanne Tarkowski Tempelhof of BitNation and Rick Falkvinge of the Swedish Pirate Party. He founded the Pirate Party in Sweden, and actually Susan's originally from Sweden too. And Rick came up with some software called SwarmOps that he's going to demo for us today. So he's going to tell us a little bit about that. And the interesting thing about this, other than his software is pretty cool, is Susanne is in Ghana right now, Africa, and she is working to integrate this with BitNation and use it for an accounting software and try to get that all up and running. So I will let you take over, Rick and Susanne. Why don't you tell us about your software and tell us a little bit about yourself, Rick.
Thank you, Jamie. So as you, oh wow, I can see myself in the mirror reflection there. It's really dark outside here in Sweden. So as you said, I founded the Swedish Pirate Party in 2006, and part of that concept was we were going up against a very rich establishment. We didn't have any money, so we needed to find a way to use our very scarce resources much more efficiently. Not so much pinch pennies as have the pennies go much farther than what the others were capable of. And part of that was to enable tens of thousands of volunteers to work together in the same direction. Imagine, if you will, that 25 years ago, if you wanted a large-scale project done, you'd hire 100 people to work 40 hours a week, which gave you 40,000 hours of work per week. What SwarmOps does, and what we did in the Swedish Pirate Party, where SwarmOps comes from, is that we had the philosophy of let's recruit 20,000 volunteers who contribute 2 hours of work per week instead. That way, they get to contribute to a change they want to see in society, and they do not expect payment for that work. So everybody wins. And so SwarmOps, which I have to on the screen to my left here, I'll start screencasting in a minute, does two things very well. It enables the cooperation of tens of thousands of people. I have 200,000 people in a fake sandbox here covering the Nordic countries at the moment. And it also does accounting on full automatic, because it's very hard to have so many people, so much activity being tracked by one or two people who have to keep Venetian double accounting, bookkeeping for everything that happens in the organization. And therefore, this software, which we developed and which is now being generalized, does that on full automatic. The Swedish Pirate Party, if I recall correctly, had 200,000 transaction rows in a typical year, and of those, well over 99.5% were just made on full automatic. The rest had some manual component to them. So SwarmOps is the generalization of that software. It does accounting on full automatic. It's being brought to accept Bitcoin natively, meaning that it can track a cold wallet, it can have your bookkeeping denominated in Bitcoin, and as on the short-term future roadmap, you also have hot wallet management, meaning that once a payment or a payout has cleared all obstacles, SwarmOps will pay it without you needing to interact with any kind of legacy bank. Any questions about that before I run a short demo?
Yes. It's a centralized app that runs on people's individual computer.
Excellent question, Jamie. Excellent question. This has a web interface, so it runs on any modern Debian or Ubuntu server. It's fairly lightweight. It requires a MySQL database as the backend, so it's no strange technology involved anywhere. When you install it, it's all Debian or Ubuntu sysadmin familiar stuff. You add a new repository, you do what's called an apt-get install, and it'll fetch all its dependencies. You'll need to add the website to Apache or your favorite web server, and you'll connect to the website, and it'll self-install from there.
Okay, so then this is an open source thing that you've made then?
Absolutely.
So anybody can download it?
Absolutely. It's not just free to download, to use. The source code is also up on GitHub, and I'll be showing that in a minute.
Okay, excellent. So anybody that wants to use this software, it has a spare computer box laying around, can just download a free copy of Ubuntu or Debian and install it. I mean, I got a couple of old computers laying around here that, you know, could actually be used to install it, and you can run it yourself. And then have it connected.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Jamie. And new updates are coming every 2 weeks at this point. We're releasing so-called sprints every 2 weeks. So what we'll be looking at is still very, very clearly alpha software. This is about hitting a moving target, but you can also very clearly see where this is heading, and the blanks that are still there are being filled in every sprint as we go. So we're talking about launching pilots today, and pilots by definition take a little bit of pain in hashing out the usability and the basic features and so on. But I'm really excited in terms of where this is going and giving this technology to the world, because it made all the difference in beating the established parties in the Swedish Power Party and actually putting 2 representatives in the European Parliament.
Yeah, and you know, it amazes me. You know, I've been around since before the internet was popular too, and I've seen the growth of computers, and the internet has come to life. And you know, it amazes me how organized actually something as, you know, people look at it and it's like, how can anything get done without organized structure or whatever if people are just voluntarily contributing to this stuff? Mm-hmm. But what we see in practice is this open source, decentralized, you know, developers actually get this stuff done faster than these corporate closed source projects. Yep. And it's better.
Yep, absolutely, Jamie. I agree with you full-heartedly. And we could see the same thing when we applied open source principles to policymaking and civic duty. So that's also what SwarmOps does. It enables you to take the thinking that was behind SwarmOps and other open source software into a civic project where you would like to see change in the world for whatever good thing you'd like to see happen. Yeah. So it's full. Yeah. It's not just open source. It's actually public domain. So it's not Creative Commons licensed. It is not. It is fully unencumbered and completely unrestricted.
That's awesome. Now, Susan, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you done and how you got in touch with Rick and what you're planning on doing down there?
Yeah, so thanks for asking, Jamie. I was just about to say. So I am the CEO of BitNation, www.bitnation.co. And what we're trying to do is governance 2.0, meaning, you know, voluntary, decentralized, and borderless type of government, meaning that wherever you are, you know, we can provide apps essentially to do decentralized sort of government where people can just download that and install it in their community without asking for consent of any ruling authority. And so I've been in the sort of anarchist libertarian world for some time, and obviously I was born and raised in Sweden, so I also been following Rick for a long time in the Pirate Party. You know, it's obviously something that's quite present in Swedish politics. And we started talking, I think, sometime last year, and since we're both into Bitcoin, we started hanging out and exchanging ideas, you know, and yeah, so we just been sort of, you know, friends ever since. And since we have very mutually compatible projects, it's really, really cool to be able to work together on this. And you know, obviously, I'm a huge fan of the Pirate Party. I don't believe in IT, and you know, I think just like Rick thinks that crypto is the way forward. So that's pretty much it. So in terms of doing this demo today, I think it's very important because what we are trying to do, so Rick published a book, I think it was, please correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, I think it was like maybe 1 or 2 years ago, called SwarmOps, and about how to organize a sort of grassroots movement. And when Rick set up the Pirate Party in Sweden, you know, it went from like a pirate party in a small country. I mean, Sweden have 9 million citizens. It's very small, right? And you know, it's spread to 70 different countries, and that's very impressive. And so Rick had designed this whole philosophy around this, and a book around it. You know, I think fairly based on holacracy as a model, and you know, that's something that we at BitNation want to replicate because it's very similar as an organization. You know, it's an organization aimed at self-governance, at empowering people at a very grassroots level. So that's why I'm really excited to champion the SwarmOps software for this purpose. And you know, initially I was just thinking that we should probably use it for our ambassador network, but the more I think of this, I actually think we'll use it for BitNation as a whole, actually. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Excellent. That is pretty cool. And now, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're actually doing in Ghana too, and why you're there? I think that's something that the people that are watching are going to want to know about, and I think it's a very worthy project that you're doing there. And you know, that's what kind of is bringing us all together, I think.
Yeah, so the whole Ghana thing is really super exciting. So essentially, I mean, we were planning to do like land deeds on the blockchain for a while, and we didn't really sort of know. I mean, we're planning to do a lot of things on the blockchain. So land deeds were just one of those things, right? And we didn't particularly plan or map out where we were going to do it. But then I met with online with Philip here. Say hello, Philip.
Hello, Jimmy.
And yeah, so I met with Philip online, and he reached out to me to be a BitNation ambassador, and I started to ask him online. I was like, so what's the problem with the government? You know, what's the problem in governance in Ghana? And he started saying, oh, politicians are corrupt, this and that. And I said, yeah, okay, well, they're corrupt everywhere. But what is the particular governance problems in your area in terms of like what people are trying to achieve, like land deeds or corporate incorporation or marriage or whatever, you know? And then Philip said, like, well, land deeds is actually a tremendous problem in Ghana. There are so much land conflicts.
Yeah, and there's a lot of conflict in Ghana due to the land issues. Some even happened some few years ago in Tamale, the northern part of Ghana, where they were fighting because of land issues. And even in the southern part too, one land can be sold to about 3 to 4 people. So I just thought that reissuing the land deeds and the registry on the blockchain to really help in transparency, to even help the international world for them to see that there's a land here which has been leased or which has not been sold, so that someone there can come to Ghana to come and have the land for any project that he wants, to be transparent for everyone in the world to see. So yesterday we went to see one of the kings, and he was really, really happy because they were even thinking of that project. So they were really happy to have us, and they've asked us to come tomorrow for further. And they've even invited us to their festival so that they can introduce us to their community for them to see the project that we are bringing to the Ghanaian population.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I wanted to introduce Philip too.
Yeah, and also
Philip,
I want
he's the founder of. Philip's the founder of the Dream Bitcoin Foundation in Ghana there, and he's been trying to set up a conference on December 5th, and Susan has been helping with that too. But these blockchain
I mean, this is
deeds.
I'm just here as a participant.
Yeah.
They have organized everything 100%.
Yeah. Everything has been organized.
This blockchain deed system is kind of similar to the blockchain ID thing that Chris Ellis came up with, where you get the get all the information that you need and then encrypt it with PGP keys and then store the hash on the blockchain. So you're not actually storing a lot of data or anything for blockchain bloat. It's just the hash that's stored on the blockchain. So I just wanted to make that clear to our viewers.
As well.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's very similar to it's very much the same concept. It's based on PGP secured reputation, on time stamping, and on the whole land survey process that goes before it, with all the GPS coordinates and the approval, the sign off of the people who have land around it, obviously land bordering land. So yeah, I mean it's extraordinarily similar.
Okay. Well, Rick, should we get started on doing a demo of the actual software now?
Jamie,
Susanne had something more.
Hold on. Before we get started, I would like to introduce Narigamba as well. Yeah.
Oh, you got him there too?
Yeah, Narigamba, do you want to say hello?
Yes, hello. Actually, I'm pretty much interested with this form of application. I mean, the setup, because the fact that tens of thousands of people could cooperate with the decentralization of accounting systems whereby decision making is made simple. I was thinking that the measure of self-governance is made simple, and the fact that we're able to come up with issues like land deeds and registry in Ghana here makes it an authority for people to be able to come up with solutions to talk of land disputes in Ghana here. And I think this whole setup is pretty much interesting, which I'm so much interested with the BitNation when it comes to what we have to do to be able to make Ghana a better place. So I think whatever we have to do to make this a solution, or maybe make it a success, will pretty much interest me more.
And
I
to give you a little bit of background information, so Narigamba is a part of Dream Bitcoin Foundation, and he's also working with BitNation here in Ghana, and he's been like really instrumental in terms of reaching out to local chiefs, arranging all the meetings, and introducing the whole landed blockchain concept regionally. Both Narigamba and Flip have been really amazing,
And actually, I'm happy that what transpired yesterday with Dumpa was pretty a success, that we're looking forward to getting our consent tomorrow. And the good news is that actually Bankra Chief has given us his consent to having a meeting on Saturday. So this is pretty much interesting with the land deeds on BitNation introducing the whole setup on making things a success. Though.
Very cool.
Yeah. And I think Green Bitcoin Foundation will be interested in using the SwarmOps software as well for their organization, because it's very comfortable.
Well, let's get on to the actual software. Let's see what Rick has to show us.
Awesome. Let's see just how bad the Dark Angel of demos can go today. So, starting, you should be able to see my terminal screen right now, right?
I am.
Yep, I see a $sign. You have root.
Right. So this is a Ubuntu server. It's freshly installed, long-term support, trusty tar, and I have added a repository that's referenced in the GitHub. So installing SwarmOps is actually this easy. All right, so I forget the apt. Ridiculous.
I've turned off the camera for now to save bandwidth.
Sure.
Okay.
But I will turn it off when I need to speak.
Okay. There you go. And it's actually already installed, and not just installed. Somebody using apt-get to install it like this will get the bi-weekly updates on full auto. So let's switch from there to what it looks like. Can I screen share Chromium? I should be able to screen share Chromium. SwarmOps sprint plan. Yes, that's it. Are you seeing this?
No, I'm still seeing.
Oh, there you go. There. Got it. So this is what it looks like when you first connect to it, and it'll take you through a setup phase, which takes upwards of 20 minutes, really, because there's a ton of data that needs to be provisioned into the database from a master copy of geographies and such. But as we don't want to wait for 20 minutes, this is what it looks like once you started. You can see the SwarmOps logo. You can see the sprint name. We're currently in the release phase black because we haven't come into the visible part of the spectrum yet. The next is red. There's a digit 6 there, black 6. The next is black 7, black 8, and so on. And this is very traditional, almost retro in design. So what we can see is that we have a bunch of functions for people, for communicating with people internally, externally, financially. People can ask for money, look at what money look at how what the health of the organization looks like, look at the balance sheet, profit and loss, account plan, upload bank files. This is kind of a legacy function, but this is also what enables the Swedish Power Party to have all of this accounting on automatic so successfully, because we would just upload whatever data we got from the bank, and it would just feed straight into the system. Banks like to own this data. They like to own the operations. We would rather do that ourselves. Thank you very much. And to give you a hint of how many people can easily be involved in this operation, we can take a look at, there are actually 200,000 people in here, just as a demo. The Sandbox, which you can access at this address, by the way, it's at dev.swarmops.com, and the instant you connect to it, you're logged on as SwarmOps Sandbox administrator. So, and all data is reset every night, so just play away. And we can look at people in Sweden, for instance, and we'd be limited to 1,000 people in results, as you typically would need to refine your search at that point. We can refine our search to a name pattern. And what's nice about this is that this is actually very granular. I'm currently logged on as SwarmOps administrator, so I have access to the entire database of people. But if somebody was, say, the point of contact for a city, they would only see the people in that city. If somebody was the point of contact for a county, including that city and 5 more cities, they would see that part of the people database. So it's very granular, it scales with responsibility, and people only see their part of the organization. So there is a whole lot of privacy and data protection built in from the start. So,
Breaking.
sorry?
Can I just interrupt you with,
Sure.
I just interrupt you with a question?
Absolutely.
So this whole thing about being geographically based, geographically organized,
Mm-hmm.
could you just expand a little bit on the utility of that? Because I don't like BitNation is sort of like we pride ourselves with being sort of non-geographically based, although obviously local adaptation and community organization is part of what we want to achieve. But still, if you can just sort of expand a little bit on that, it would be really cool to grasp the concept better.
Of course. The SwarmOps has a geography tree, meaning that you can currently see just the Nordic countries here. This is supposed to be the entire world once the database is provisioned. That's just a matter of grunt work putting data in there, so that's doable. But the point is that you can assign roles to any node in this geography tree. You typically start out at the world yourself as you're setting up a movement, and as you're getting more people involved, they would typically want to take on their own area of responsibility, say be it a today's country division or whatever. It's more practical than political, and you'd divide it. These people would gather a team around them, and that team would in turn naturally take on responsibility of maintaining the organization in, say, the west of Sweden, as we see here, and you keep subdividing as far as you like. Essentially, there's no limit to how granular you can go here, and the point of that is that you can. The organization scales beautifully. People take on responsibility at whatever level they like, and the organization grows naturally into more and more fine detail. Now, as for whether this happens to be the same subdivision as a country would use, but that's much more practical matter than a political one. It's really not strange that you'd have different cities, for instance, where people would take on that responsibility, and we can see different cities here under each county as it happens in the west of Sweden. So the scalability of this is one of its major assets. Let's just for kicks look at people named Joe something, S something in the communality city of Göteborg, and we see immediately we have 4 people there matching that name, and that's what a point of contact in that city would see.
Okay, so I think what so the geographic regions in this aren't really.
In Ghana, they don't.
You could do it on an organizational.
You could do it on an organizational basis as well. SwarmOps also does organization trees in exactly the same manner. That you're able to. Since this is a fresh copy, it doesn't have that yet. But we can take a sneak peek at create new organization, and SwarmOps, create new organization as a child of Sandbox. And there's no limit to how complex organization trees you could build either. Conversely, if somebody has a responsibility or authority or access in a parent organization, that carries over to a child organization under that parent. But every child organization has its own independent economy, which we'll look at in a minute. Did that answer your question, or did I get it wrong?
Did that take care of it, Susan?
Yeah, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sort of did. I'm just concerned about people like in the developing world, like here in Ghana, you know, people don't really have addresses. They have PO boxes generally. And, you know, so if there are no addresses, is that just sort of a voluntary option to put in whatever city you are in?
Yeah.
Because there's no official record.
If SwarmOps cannot locate your address, it'll simply ask you where you are.
All right, perfect. Okay, so Rick, do you want to do this demo live?
Oh, it
In
is
Sandbox? No, I know it's live, but do it for BitNation, you know, so we can like actually, with your guidance, put in all the details and create your organization, and have you like walk through step by step how to do it. I think that will be the best way to make people understand how we're actually doing it.
I could do that, but then again, don't you want to run your own server?
Well, this is just a pilot, you know. Right, so we're just going to do the pilot to see how it works, and then we'll obviously adapt it to our own needs.
Fair enough. So let's change servers from the Sandbox to the live.swarmops.com and actually set up BitNation.
Yep. Live SwarmOps.com.
I don't think you have an account there yet, but I can set one up for you shortly. It's loading because I recently installed it, so I might have to restart Apache there actually. Shouldn't have to, but that's a problem I have on my server. That's not with SwarmOps.
But don't you think it's better if I set it up from my end and I share the screen and you can walk us through step by step? Because
and I'm getting an error now because I just restarted the web server. You want to do it on your screen, Susanne?
Yeah, I can do it on my screen. That's totally fine. You know, I think it's better if I do it on my screen actually, because then if I do it and I run into problems, you know, I can just ask you how to solve it, because you know how to solve everything already, you know.
There we are.
But it's good to have this sort of amateur perspective on it.
The problem is you don't have an account on the live server. So I would suggest that we could do this on the dev server and then redo it offline with a little bit more time and patience. And you can do this on the dev server. Make sense?
Sounds good.
All right. Let's look at your screen.
Okay, so while I'm getting the same offline screen as you are, I can share it.
You should be able to go to dev.swarmops.com. The live system is up now. But if you go to dev.swarmops.com, then we can...
Yeah. Okay, so let me share my screen. Just give me a second.
And I'll turn off mine.
All right. One second. Screen share. Okay, let me try desktop one.
If you drag your cursor to the left, Susanne, you'll see a number of options. The second from top, I believe, should be a screen with an arrow on it named Screen Share.
Oh yeah. Now I know how to share the screen. I'm just sort of confused of what screen to share because I have several windows open at the same time.
Fair enough.
So I'm just putting it into another browser at the moment. Give me 1 second. Alright, here we go. Let me close down the first one. Alright.
Okay, while Susan's figuring that out and getting her screen share up, let's, I just want to remind people to check out my video that I made yesterday on World Crypto Network of OpenPGP on how to set up your own and send encrypted emails in Windows. It's practice, but better than plain text. So if you haven't seen that, it's on the World Crypto Network YouTube channel, and you can watch it. It's only 22 minutes long, and it goes from downloading the software to sending an encrypted email and getting an encrypted email and how to decode it. So if you're interested in that, you can watch that, and I hope that people get some use out of it. And I plan to make some more for Linux and for Android. I don't have a Macintosh, so I can't make one of those. But okay, it looks like Susan has her screen share back up, and we will move to her. Okay, Susan.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So if you're going to... Right. So as a side note, SwarmOps has a BitID login, meaning that if you have a BitID enabled wallet in your phone, you're just pointing your wallet in that and boom, you're in, which is ridiculously convenient and a two-factor authentication process. Even if SwarmOps doesn't see the entire two factors, the process is still 2FA. So if you're instead going to dev.swarmops.com at the top there, Suzanne, we'll be in the Sandbox.
Okay, so
I won't count for you at this time.
Right, so the address is dev.com.
Oh, we lost Susan. She dropped out.
Might be a bandwidth issue if you're screencasting.
Yeah, the bandwidth issue in Ghana isn't that wonderful. I don't know what kind of connection she has, but I'm sure she'll reconnect here in a minute.
Yeah, let's give her a second or two. But if you can't
have you had any problems with the bank shutting down your account or anything like that in Sweden? I know I had talked with Christian. He runs an exchange in Sweden, and he said that they kept shutting his accounts down.
Yeah, they do. They do. I haven't personally had problems. Then again, I haven't exactly been rubbing it in their face either. I've been trying to keep a little low key on the things I do with Bitcoin as far as the bank is concerned, because frankly, I don't think it's their business to know about it.
Yeah.
So Suzanne is back. Are you screencasting, Suzanne? Not yet, it seems.
I think she's getting it set up again.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that seems to be a problem around the world now, that the banks are kind of going into a defensive mode, and if they see you doing anything with Bitcoin, they're shutting people down.
Oh, yes. Yeah. No wonder. And it's exactly like the copyright industry did when they saw BitTorrent, or for that matter, Napster. They're essentially going into, hey, we have a right to do this mode. With the copyright industry, they actually had a legal right to do it. With banks, they're just going to clamor for laws that...
Bullies.
Right. If you're doing the full history, though, the copyright industry did not have the right to protect themselves like that when file sharing started in 1980. They lobbied for laws in the background, and that's exactly where we are now, and that's what I'm afraid the banks are doing.
Yeah, I think so, too. I was a musician for a number of years, too, and I'm actually a member of ASCAP. It's a music industry thing here in the United States. I'm a publisher, and you know, they really are. And I don't believe in intellectual property either, and that's they really push it. And the only reason I publish my copyrights or register my copyrights and stuff is it's a legal defense here if somebody else tries to copyright your material and force you not to use your own stuff.
Right. Which is also common practice in the copyright industry.
Yeah, copyright trolls or patent trolls.
Sad story. I'm hoping that it'll go away soon enough, but I think it might take a while. So let's see.
Yeah, people are patenting everything. Some guy patented having a white image in the background of your photograph.
Yep, I saw that. There was an Australian guy who actually made a point of this when Australian patent laws were being revised, and he patented a, quote, circular transportation facilitation device, as in the wheel, and had pages and pages of typical patent application lingo, and actually had it approved.
Yep.
So it seems like I'm starting to suspect that the hotel Susanne is in has limited bandwidth. I'm not at all prepared to blame a country infrastructure. I've been in several hotels in what's supposed to be good bandwidth countries where the hotels are just frankly sucky in terms of bandwidth capacity. And if Susanne is in a hotel, then I'd be blaming that before Ghana.
Oh yeah, I don't blame it on that. I have bad internet here some days too. It's just it's one of those things now that you get clogs in.
Fair enough. It's
depending
not
on
entirely
the time of the day.
It's not entirely predictable. I'll buy that in a heartbeat. So moving on, should I screencast from here and run through the features, or?
Yeah, why
Susanne,
don't you?
Okay.
We'll just move on and join up with Susan some other time. But just for the sake of this broadcast, let's just move on.
All right. So I'm broadcasting where I stand then. So this is where we were. This is the development sandbox. Anybody can go here, and the instant you go to this address, dev.swarmops.com, you're logged on as the sandbox administrator. It looks like this. I can't even log out before being immediately logged back in as sandbox administrator. This is what it would look like. So let's create a new organization. We looked before at what the geography tree looks like with the Nordic countries in the system, and how the sandbox has 200,000 people in it. So we're creating a test organization for some suspicious reason. I had apparently typed that before in that field. We're doing a new root level organization. We're operating in Bitcoin. Show me one other piece of accounting software that has that as an option. And we're doing ambassadors, calling regular people ambassadors, and calling activists, well, something else. Doesn't really matter. Could call them activists for that matter. And create that organization. When that happens, a new organization will be set up, and an account plan will be set up. The accounts will all be zeroed out initially, both asset, debts, revenue, and expense accounts, because there's no bookkeeping here yet. There are no people here yet. There's just me, frankly, the sandbox administrator in this organization. So we'll need to add accounts, and we'll need to add people. We'll add some cold wallet tracking of Bitcoin. If I had been running, if I'd been denominated in fiat money right now, we would also automatically have foreign exchange currency tracking enabled. because it would need to track the exchange rate fluctuations. If you have one account denominated in Bitcoin and another, say, in US dollars, you'd need to account for that regularly just to have your bookkeeping up to date. And it can't do this yet, but in a near-term roadmap, you've got the ability to keep hot Bitcoin wallets, and where SwarmOps will automatically keep a number of days of operating expenses unreserved in its hot wallet, and transfer surplus to the cold wallet, or ask for reserves to be transferred from the cold wallet into the hot wallet if necessary for operations. So let's go from here to the account plan, as it says down here, or we can go there from the regular menu. A lot of stuff here, just a regular account plan. We see the typical Venetian categories of assets, liabilities, revenue, and expenses. This is all typical accounting, and we've got our Bitcoin assets cold added for us. If we go in and edit that, this is one of those half-finished features that'll come in a sprint any week, that under the header automation, we'll be able to add a Bitcoin address there, and this will be automatically accounted for every X hours or every day or any configurable interval. We can see where this is in the tree. Again, this is another tree, the account tree. There's no limit to how far down you can run an account tree here, meaning that you can sub-delegate budgets as you go. We can actually, let's do that. If we have the staff account, we could add an account called staff expenses, and we would put that with staff as our parent. We would make ourselves own that, and we're named Sandbox Administrator. And we have a budget of, say, 50 Bitcoin, which is a huge amount, right? And it's an expenses amount, so it'll automatically correct to a negative budget, meaning this is money that leaves the organization. And it's active expensable.
Okay, I got a quick question.
Sure.
Okay, now, so you can't enter in like a Bitcoin address, so it actually tracks it off the blockchain then?
You can. This is an expense account, so you would. Let's go back to assets here. In Venetian bookkeeping, you have
that would be under assets.
You have a balance accounts and you have profit and loss accounts. So this would be a tracked asset. You would deduct from that as you have a sale of something, an expense of something in a bookkeeping transaction. Actually, let's mimic that right now. As you saw, you can assign budget owners. I am the budget owner of this particular account with a budget, and the idea is that every account should have a budget owner, so they have somebody responsible for fulfilling the budget of that account. Asset and liability accounts don't have budgets because they're running balances. They're not goals to be met in the same way. So let's go and do that. Let's request a cash advance from a budget. Advance amounts in micro Bitcoin. Let's just ask for 25 micro Bitcoin, a fairly small amount. Purpose, testing cash advance. And you'd have to take that from some budget. In this case, we're taking it from, let's take it from staff. And bank details obviously don't apply here because we're going to be doing it in Bitcoin. I might have to, and I think it prevents point. And it'll say that exactly. We are requesting a cash advance, and it needs to be attested by the budget owner, and we'll then proceed to payout. So attesting that cost, you'll see that we're testing a cash advance against staff. So this is what I see as a budget owner, somebody asking for a cash advance, and it's up to me to prove that, yes, I allow this money to be taken from my account. So cash advance 1 has been attested. At that point, it proceeds to payout. And if we had a hot wallet at this point, it would already be paid. At this point, it's for somebody administrating payouts from a wallet to check that, yes, I paid this. And as this amount gets discovered in the asset account, it's the transaction on the live blockchain is automatically connected to this person requesting a cash advance. And if we're now going to ledgers, we can see on the balance sheet that, no, we cannot actually, because this is a cash advance, so it doesn't affect the balance yet. Let's instead fake an actual expense for something. And we're doing that for staff expenses, and we're uploading a receipt. Let's just pick a random. I'm looking for a folder called render. I can't see it there. And let's just pick a random picture. Hey, Susanne. Going through a little bit of demo here. Uploading a random image.
Okay, so I'm very sorry about that.
Suggesting that this is a receipt I'm just uploading.
It's not that great. Hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, so do you want to, well, perhaps I'll start over again, because I guess that would be pretty long to do. I'm going to share my screen.
There's a bit of echo there, Susanne. Can't really hear you.
Yeah, hold on. We're turning off the screen. Hold on a second. We're running one from a mobile phone hookup and the other one from actual internet.
I can restart this. You'd be able to see it on the cast afterward though. And I'm seeing that file upload seems broken for some reason, which I'll need to look at. I mean, this is the dev sandbox, so bugs do appear here. In either case, we would see this on the balance sheet and the profit and loss, how the accounts would change in real time. You can see as I expand the drill downs here, and that's the hard and fast of the accounting here. It tracks assets on automatic, whether you have them on the blockchain or will in 1 or 2 weeks. You can upload files from banks as long as the profile is in there, and it does full bookkeeping in the background, which is the key to not having this, frankly, boring paperwork take your time from activism or real work. And I think we can end the demo there. The source code is on GitHub/SwarmOps/SwarmOps. You have installation instructions and a bit of the philosophy behind SwarmOps further down here. You'll be able to add people and have automatic people sign up at the end of this sprint, meaning in roughly 1.5 weeks. You can see that there's a half-finished feature here calling add something, and there will also be a self sign-up page. So, and at that point, SwarmOps is actually baseline usable, which is why Susanne has kindly agreed to take on a pilot deployment, and I'm really excited about that. And I think that demonstrates the basic capabilities at this stage.
Yeah, I think what we should do then is call that pretty good for this broadcast, and then what we can do is just do a non-live broadcast of your setup with Susan for that demonstration. Then we're not live and worried about making mistakes. We can edit the video or whatever, and you can make a slicker video demonstration of it. How's that sound, Susan?
Yeah, that sounds okay. So what are the timelines for that? I mean, we're very eager to get it up and running quickly because we actually really need it for organization, so the sooner the better, essentially.
All right, so we could take those requirements offline, Susanne. I mean, I would need the geography for Ghana, a rough estimate of what it looks like to feed that into the system, so you have something to work with.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't much like in a lot of areas around here, there are no street names, and there are
That's no
no
problem. SwarmOps doesn't care about street names.
codes, for different areas, so it will have to be fairly improvised.
I can do improvised. That's not a problem at all.
Okay, that's cool.
As in, this is just put a stake in the ground and evolve from there. That's my philosophy. Okay, so anybody who wants to try out SwarmOps is welcome to come to dev.swarmops.com. The source code is on GitHub. If you want to contribute, you're more than welcome to do so. The backend code is in C# and ASP.NET, which Microsoft, I'm happy to say, have finally agreed to open completely. Otherwise, it runs on Mono and runs perfectly on Mono right now. However, most of the development happens in JavaScript and jQuery because there's a backend which is solid from the times of the Swedish Pirate Party. This is the front end which is being rewritten to generalize and to accommodate any organization, and that's where the development happens at this time. The size of the project is roughly 160,000 lines of code at this point. We're welcoming any developers, and you can get in touch with me at rick.falkvinge@pirateacademy.eu, or just join a Facebook group named SwarmOps Developers, and you're more than welcome to contribute or pilot an installation, or just ask for more information. And I'm happy that, and thank you for sitting through this demonstration and taking an interest in it.
Well, very cool, Rick. And yeah, we've been doing a lot of stuff from Sweden on the World Crypto Network lately, and all of it. So, and I've been following what Susan's been doing for quite a while too. So I'm interested in seeing what's going on in Ghana, and yeah, I think it'll work out pretty good. You can fix those, get her set up with her account and stuff, and then
let's do that.
And
let's
then
do that.
Get that recorded off.
Yep, and we can follow up to your viewers later, as in this is how it developed, and this is where we're going already.
Yeah, I think that'll turn out pretty good.
Awesome.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Rick, for joining me, and thank you, Susan, for contacting me about this. And
thank you so much, Jamie. This has been a privilege and a pleasure.
Yes. Okay, Susan. How's that sound? You guys can take this offline, and we will do a follow-up on here on how it's going, and how's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm very excited to start using the software, and yeah, it's perfect for our organization, and I like to support the pirate movement as well, so it's the best of all worlds, really.
Okay. Well,
great. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank everybody for watching, and if you enjoy these type of shows, we accept Bitcoin donations. The address is below, and I just want to remind people that we have a lot of other shows on the World Crypto Network. We got, let me bring up my sheet of all our other shows here. We got Bitcoin Rush, and let me see. Oh no, I can't. There we go.
First before coffee.
We got Bitcoin Talk Show with Agyei. That was on yesterday. It was really funny. Theo and a bunch of guys were on there, and they were using the Dodge Rain app on their phone, and it was hilarious. So if you're looking for something funny to watch, go back and watch that one. Yep. Bitcoin Blake was on there. He doesn't live too far from me, about 2 hours away. And Chris Ellis from Chris Before Coffee, he and I do a show together quite a bit. There he is again. Megan Lords does a show on Thursday nights called Crypto Combos. Dark News with Christoph. And James Bang has been doing reporting from the Hong Kong protests live. So he's been doing quite a job there. It's been like 71 days of that protest has been going on. It's been just exhausting. I tried keeping up with it and broadcasting that I did like the first 30 days of it, and I couldn't keep up with doing it every day anymore.
That is impressive indeed, Jamie.
And there's Ksenia and Christian. That was in Sweden. We were talking about the banks shutting down accounts in Sweden for Bitcoin.
Christian Anders. Awesome, yeah.
And there's Ryzek. He was talking about Twister and some other stuff. That was in Sweden as well. And Mad Bitcoins, our founder of World Crypto Network, Tom, Mad Potcoins, he has a show. Midas Marnie, she has a great show for small businesses on Thursday afternoons in the United States. So her show will be on in about 3 hours. And I've learned a lot from her show. It's not real technical, but it really is practical if you run a small business or something. And there's Tom without his get up on. And this is a new show, The Flip Side. DJ Booth, he's from Australia, and this is a very funny show. He's really witty. Tom again. And then Transmission with Theo Goodman from Germany. We really have people from all over the world on the World Crypto Network, so it's pretty amazing talking to people. You know, we're truly decentralized, truly a decentralized network with people in Thailand, Australia, United States, Germany, Sweden, and Africa. So again, thank you to Rick and thank you to Susan for joining me, and thank you to the viewers. So until next time, bye-bye.